Kubrat Pulev versus Lucas Browne, going out to Aaron Willoughby. Let's get into it. I like this fight, I really do. As a matter of fact, I love this fight. This will be a fan-friendly fight that will be great for the fans and great for the sport. Because of the high work rate of both of these fighters, you have two big heavyweights who don't mind slugging it out. These guys have tremendous power. These guys are tough, so it would only make sense for this fight to be requested and for this fight to be made at some point in the near future. They really need to make this fight. So Kubrat Pulev and Lucas Browne. Who takes it? Lucas Browne is tough as nails. It has a good chin, fan-friendly style, loves to mix it up, has a high work rate. The only thing is the defense just isn't there, to be quite honest. And I see him getting countered and getting hurt. So for all of his power, for all of his activity, for all of his combinations, he leaves himself open. Kubrat is about 2 years younger than Lucas Browne. They both have the same amount of fights. And so I guess Kubrat has a slight age advantage on Lucas Browne. But Kubrat just seems more polished as a fighter. And he just seems more seasoned between the two. I mean, both of these guys are pretty much the same fighter in my opinion, but Kubrat just seems to have a little more skill and a few more tools in the tool belt. I see this fight being shades of Adam Kanowski and Robert Helenius, with Pulev being Helenius and Browne being Kanowski. And honestly, this fight may last 2-3 rounds before Pulev catches Browne. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. I'll see you next time. I made one error during this video when I said that Lucas Browne and Kubrat Pulev have the same amount of fights. What I meant to say was they have around the same amount of fights. I know that you boxing fans are quick to fact check, so I didn't want to get fact checked. So either you're an extreme fanboy or an extreme hater. And these days, there's no middle ground. If we like a fighter, they can do no wrong. But if we hate a fighter, everything they do is trash, and they're just trash. There's no middle ground. There's no being objective. There's no being unbiased. It's either or. Sort of like our politics. Everything is just so extreme. Extreme to the left, extreme to the right. It's no different in boxing. But you don't have to like a fighter to acknowledge some of the attributes that they possess or some of the things that they do well. And just because you like a fighter doesn't mean that they can do no wrong, doesn't mean that sometimes they can't say or do things that you may disagree with. So I think we have to get back to just looking at what benefits the sport as a whole and just stop the fanboy stuff. Like I always say, I have my fanboy moments, and it's okay to be a fanboy or a fangirl to a certain extent. But we just can't go overboard with it. We just can't get crazy with it, and we have to operate within the realm of reality. Just because you hate a fighter doesn't mean that everything they do is bad. And just because you like a fighter doesn't mean that everything they do is right. So we just have to come back in the middle just a little bit, have some middle ground. I'm not a fan of this fighter, but they do have a good left hook or a good jab. I am a fan of this fighter, but I wish that this fighter would improve upon X, Y, and Z. And those are just a couple of examples. And so I just think that we have to be reasonable. We have to be reasonable in our assessments and in our comments, because we're just going overboard these days. And it's all about one or two particular fighters that we like and forget the rest of the sport. The rest of the sport doesn't matter, because everything centers around my favorite fighter or the fighter that I like. And it just can't be that way all the time, because if we don't do what's good for the whole sport, then we won't have a sport. And so let's keep a balance. And this is just my opinion. We should keep a balance. Yes, I like this fighter. I like that fighter. I dislike this fighter or dislike that fighter for whatever reason. But our concern should be, or our number one concern should be, the sport as a whole. What's going to be good for the sport as a whole, as well as the fighters. We definitely want to look out for the fighters, because if it wasn't for the fighters, we wouldn't have a sport. But the fans do matter too, but that's for another video. So let's just come back to reason. Let's listen to reason, and let's stop going overboard with the fanboy behavior, because it's getting out of control. And it's gotten so bad to where we will deny hard facts. For example, I made a comment in some of the boxing forums that I like the footwork that Deontay Wilder displayed in his fight with Robert Helenius. They laughed at me, poked fun at me, and ridiculed me, which is fine. I have thick skin. But some people actually asked, what footwork are you talking about? Now, this comes down to facts versus opinion. You can have your opinions about things, but you can't deny the facts. The facts are the facts. And the facts are Wilder was displaying more footwork than I was used to him seeing. All you have to do is go back and watch the fight. I mean, he was using more footwork than usual. I'm not making it up. It was there on the video. Just look at it. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Everything is all about opinions. But there's no facts. Sometimes a lot of times we don't operate off of the facts. It's what I like, what I dislike, my personal feelings, my emotions. I hate that fighter, so everything they do is wrong. I love this fighter. They can do no wrong. And I say that over and over to prove a point. Let's just be reasonable. You don't have to like my fighter. I don't have to like your fighter. I don't like every fighter. Not a big fan of Keith Thurman. But if I was to sit here and say that Keith Thurman does nothing right, then I would be being dishonest, because there's a lot of things he does right. Has a good jab, good right hand, good 1-2 punch combination. He's just not as explosive enough for me, for lack of a better term. Excuse me. Let's get this light back on. I hate that happened in the middle of the video. I had a few more points I wanted to touch on. There we go. There we go. So at least, to the best of our abilities, we should be intellectually honest about certain things. Yes, I don't like that fighter, but doggone it, he has a good left hook. What can I say? It is what it is. So, I don't know. And I just feel that a lot of fans don't know how to debate. It's just all about emotions, feelings, what I like, don't like. And it's very hard for me to talk about boxing or to debate boxing when it's just based on feelings. Now, I'm not saying that feelings and emotions aren't important and don't play a part. We just have to have the proper balance. And feelings and emotions become a problem when we're blind to the facts. When we are blind to the facts and the reality of what's actually happening inside of that ring. So I can go on and on. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
If you like the channel, please share, promote, and subscribe.
I would really appreciate it.